G'day and welcome back for more Space Engineers Survival. We have quite a few things to do today, and the first thing is getting some better defenses for the base, because I really don't want to be repairing the solar panels again. The first thing I kind of want to do in terms of repairing or improving the defenses is to get a decoy in play. And the decoys in the end of the solar panel probably wasn't my brightest idea. Instead, what I'd like to do is place a decoy a little bit like the turret that's on the other side. And while I'm in the elevator, the lack of music is something that I cannot figure out the cause of. It's intermittent. Sometimes I do get music when I get in, sometimes I don't. It seems like it's happening more often, that there's a problem since the latest update, but I cannot for the life of me work out what goes wrong and why the music won't play. But it does play sometimes, so I just don't know. So the idea with the decoy is to build up a little sort of hill mound thing, a little outpost bit like that with the decoy. The big trouble I had initially with the concept of adding decoys to the base was that I really didn't like the idea of sticking decoys onto the cabin or onto most of the tower. I kind of liked the idea of these ones at the ends, but they don't really work, as seen here. So I think having somewhere else that's got a decoy might be better, since it won't draw attention to the solar panels at all. The other advantage of putting it somewhere over here is that I can use the pipes that go to this turret to build a welder so that the decoy gets auto-repaired. And that should be quite a big benefit. So let's grab a decoy. And I was thinking a spot for it to go would be somewhere where I have steel plates. Maybe just up here, and I want to make sure it's snapping to the grid. So maybe just here would be good. Or maybe that's too high, actually. I think that'll make it all stick out just a bit too much. Maybe there would be better. Then just cover it in a single layer of armor. I'll leave the top free because I'm about to grind that down anyway. It's something this sort of shape was what I had in mind. Then, just below where we've got the decoy here, we'll drill down and I'll place a welder. And then a bit lower than that, a projector, so that if the decoy gets completely destroyed, it'll be automatically replaced. And that, I think, will be quite an effective solution. Now, a number of people have suggested this to me for quite some time, and it was always something I wanted to do. I just couldn't work out how to do it in a way that I'd be happy with the aesthetics, as is often my problem. But I think this will be a reasonable compromise between function and looks. So let's pop that in, and then wait, hang on, before I block myself in, let's just check how far across I've got to go. So I'll need to place the block I'm on plus 1, 2, 3, and 4 to get across to that. Okay. So we've got our decoy, and then we'll place our welder directly underneath it. Then it's pretty simple from this point onward. We got to get our conveyor tubes all the way around to the other ones. And that is by going this way. And if we dig downward, I should stop myself from popping up, and I should hit the spot. There we go. I think I might have gone a little bit crooked there, but that's not too bad. So then it'll be just joining these pipes up. And then I'm also going to need to sneak a projector in here. Make sure it's got power, so place a block down there. And there we go. Like that. Easy. I think after my earlier disasters with trying to get these pipes to work in even vaguely efficient ways, I might be finally getting better at it. And that works nicely. And I did something silly. Dang it. I should have made a blueprint of I should have made a blueprint of the decoy with its little armor housing over the top. Because that would have been perfect for the projector, and now I'm going to have to make a new one and then come all the way back down here. Grrr. In fact, I might just see how it goes without it. Why aren't you welding? What's going on up there? Wait, did I put this sideways? I did put it sideways. I am a dope. Now I can create the blueprint. Here we go. Let's create it from underneath. And that will work. Now we can put this back in on both sides, and then we can put our welder in. And this time, it will be placed with the correct orientation. Yes, that is right. Now, we pretend like I did all of that on purpose, because it made everything work better, in a roundabout sort of way. So, projector. With this one, projector, decoy, blueprints, and it'll be static something or other. That one. Okay. Now I'm going to use spectator because I don't think there's any chance I am going to figure that out without it. Not without a lot of pain. Projector, decoy. Build complete. Keep projection. Perfect. So it'll replace it automatically now, which is all good, which means I can now fly my way through this giant length of underground pipe. And all the way back to the base. In fact, I think these days, because I've actually built some glass around the place in the elevator, I have to go all the way back to the assembler room. And with just enough hydrogen to make it. Yeah. I suppose I should get my health back while I'm down here. So that's one decoy added out the front. Hopefully with it being welder backed, it'll last through an assault so that it will be a decoy that lasts the whole time. I'm not sure that'll be the case, and it is a pity that the welder can't actually get these blocks on top, because that would be far more useful if it could. There we are. So how does that look on the whole? It's not horrible. I'm not supremely happy with it. In fact, what I might do is make it grey so that it doesn't stand out quite so much. There we go. I think at some point I probably want to build another turret like this one that's separate. Maybe even further up this hill, somewhere up here or something would be good. Or over this way. Yeah, if I built something in a direct line from it. Maybe I should do that now. I was tossing up building either more sandbags or more of these turrets, but at least a turret over this way would have a nice clear line of sight. Yeah, it's not too hard to do this drilling when I've already got the main part of it established. So let's line it up on this row here. I kind of like the scaffolding that Shastor came up with this for this one, actually. It's quite a cool look. There we go. That's what was supposed to be there. I could have sworn I'd done that before. Oh well. So this will be our new turret over here. And it is deliberately in the line of where the most nasty enemies seem to be attacking from. So that hopefully it will protect the base against those. Oh, I'm gonna have to go quite deep so I don't pop out of the side there. Oh no. Look at that. 2 successful blind drilling operations. Yeah. Apart from the 1 motor I need for this, which I can get from while I'm outside, this pipe is done. And I thought I would show just how far this all goes underground, because it feels a little ridiculous as I fly through. And I think it was this way I need to go. I can't believe I've built this much underground pipe. Oy. So much in service of being... Oh. I wonder if it's... So, with the PCU thing, it's become more apparent to me anyway that conveyor tubes were a bit of a performance hog. And so, I wonder if some of my performance issues I've been having lately may stem from my somewhat excessive use of them. It could be. I did actually, before starting up the recording this time, test the world with no mods, no scripts, none of any of the things that usually cause issues, and I still had issues. About the same amount of issues as I always had. So I don't think any of them are strictly the cause of those stutters that you sometimes see. At least as far as I can tell, they aren't. Which is unfortunate, because I was kind of hoping I'd be able to find the culprit and solve that issue. But I have done a big cleanup of grids around the world and things like that, and it still happens at about the same frequency. It's either going to be the excessive number of conveyors, or it'll be that and the fact that I've got a vanilla grid that is, or a mostly vanilla grid that is enormous. Let's go to white. Let's put one of these in. And a turret on top of that. I've got turrets somewhere here, don't I? No, I don't. Don't need interior turrets at the moment. It's quite useful having the turret as... Why do I keep going TT? It's quite useful having the turret as a cargo system access point. There we go. Control panel. 800 meters. Cool. So we've got a decoy, we've got an extra turret, and I think starting the big project at the start of a night is probably not my best move. So what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to start working on the next version of the sandbag. I've been sent a script that was written and then updated, and then I was coached through how to set it up by Rahman, who's written a turret control script that is pretty much set up perfectly for using on things like a sandbag. And I'm going to use it that way. What it allows me to do is have the turrets send information on their status in terms of damage, their ammo level, and it'll tell me if a turret stops responding as well. And this will all be printed out on an LCD screen, which is really, really cool. It also replaces most of the functions that I have with the transmit receive script on the turrets, on the sandbags as well, which means that I don't actually need to add any blocks. In fact, I get to remove, I think, 3 timer blocks from this, and that's pretty cool. One thing I do need to do though is to be able to command these new sandbags. I have to add an extra programmable block to the bin chicken so that it can control these new versions of the sandbags once I build them. And I think I would like to do something a little bit different with manufacturing these ones. I want to test out a possible welding solution for making these. And I think what I might do is just build a very temporary design for it, just to see if it works before we go and drill out a whole section of the base. So the sandbags are how many blocks wide? 1, 2, 3, 4. So I need 4 welders. I could probably do it with fewer. 1, 2, 3, 4. Might try that instead. I was just thinking if I don't stick out quite so far into the hallway, it might make it easier to travel past with other things. But that'll make it very difficult to get Igor out. But Igor's not going to need to come out soon, so we'll do that. Instead of doing it to there, let's go to here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Since we've got those horizontal, we'll make these join up vertically like this. Then the idea will be, with this welder wall on, I can then fly something, either the Snork or the Ugly Duckling with a projector on it, projecting a sandbag out the back, fly up next to the welder wall, and then just very slowly move forward. And if that works, then my plan for a welder solution, so a printer solution, would be to have the welders static, but to have a piston-mounted, adjustable blueprint moving thingamajiggy, so that I can either have large grid or small grid printed, but it's almost always going to be small grid. And I think that'll be kind of effective. Having never built a printer on this scale, I may be wrong, but I thought building it temporarily like this would be a good way to test it, so that I, don't have to go through all of that hassle like I did last time. The reason I chose now to do this welder wall thing is that if I'm going to be making new versions of the sandbag, I will probably want to be able to print them off quickly so that I can replace all of the ones that are out there, rather than going through the hassle of printing them all with the Buttercup, which is faster than by hand but still painful. I thought this might be a good option. So this has the added convenience of not having to figure out what components are needed in order to construct it, since I've just got full access to the base. The downside that I can see with what I've got going on is that I'm actually going to need to move forward diagonally, which is a problem, because otherwise I'm not going to build up all of the necessary bits. Because of the design we've got here, I'd need to start... Actually, maybe I could do that. What I was thinking was, if I help out, I can demonstrate it a bit better. If I start welding from here and moving out in that direction, I'll weld all the way along to here, then I'll get to the middle, and by that point, I'm not going to be able to weld these bits. This bit coming out here. But, if I do this, bring this all the way along, then I'll be able to start from both bits. It should work a whole lot better. Because I did not trust myself to be able to drive diagonally. Fly diagonally. You know what I mean. Okay, let's get back in position. There we go. And on. Then I just slowly move forward like this until everything's welded. Oh man, this is so much faster. Oh, this is so much better. I'm so glad I went to the effort of doing this. Hopefully it does work as I intended it to. But man, it looks so much better so far. Like, this is genuinely quick. I could easily print off a bunch of these. Oh, hang on. Projector. Before I lose it, keep projection. Even though I'm going to change the blueprint, I would prefer it to keep it. Now, did the battery get built? That is the only thing I'm dubious about. Yes! Oh yeah. Let's turn off those welders. This worked amazingly well. I'm super happy. What I'm going to do is grind off this bit. Whoa. Go land you back over on your little spot. Now, we can start modifying this for its new version. And I'm going to leave that bar there, even though it's going to be a bit of a hassle to have to grind it off every time, but that's what it is. Could probably make that more efficient. Just have an idea. Rather than having to grind this whole thing down each time, if I make the attachment point like this and leave it so there's just 2 pieces to be ground down, it will actually be not too bad. Then just leave this long bar attached to the ugly duckling. Like so. Okay, now we got to set this thing up. First off, I never use the landing gear, so they're going. I never use the parachutes, so they're going. Good. Some slight reduction in weight and materials used. So let's grab our sandbag PB receive, and we're going to change this over to status. There's a few things we'll have to do to the base after we set this up, but we're first going to set it up on the turret. So turret status reporter. Okay. Is turret true? Yes. This turret's ID is going to be sandbag 01, and then I'm going to number them as I build them. So I'll have to go back into the script with each one I make so that I can number it. Then, and use base ping is true because I want these to keep their broadcast status of the antenna off. Because otherwise we just cover our HUD in these dang things. Now this is the really cool part. There's a find lost which adds the coordinates of any non-responsive turrets to the custom data of the display LCD. Really cool. And then other functions to clear or reset that status. Toggle turrets on and off. That I probably won't use because I prefer to have a separate on and off, but I can do that with this trigger timer. So I can just use my current timers and use this command on a new programmable block on the bin chicken to send that through. So that all stays easy. And it's got broadcast on and off already built in. So again, nice and easy. I can just send that message through from the bin chicken if I want to turn broadcasting on. Awesome. Super, super awesome. Check code. Okay, okay. Now what we need to do as well is... Oh no, that's already set. So sandbag PB status is already there. Now, because this is going to be pinging these, we actually should probably increase this broadcast radius up to the range where these are actually going to be placed, not just in a short range. So we'll push it out to 5,000 meters. And that means we can turn that off, and turn that off. Then I can get rid of those 3 timers that are switched off. Goodbye. Goodbye and goodbye. Do not need you guys anymore. Now. Oh, or you. Does that mean we've got just 2 timers? Cool. Well, let's get some armor in here since we can now. I think we go with inverted corner, and slope. And I might just pop a full block in there. No need to go too complicated. That should be all for that. Now let's set up the bin chicken next. We need an extra programmable block, so I think the only spot might... Don't really want to pop it anywhere under here. Though, how would it look there? Oh, that might work. Let's pop it there. This one's not going to be set up properly. All this is being set up for is so that I can turn the turrets on and off and send commands using the turret status reporter script. So this bull is turret is false. Then think that's... Oh no, I need to find out the antenna block name. I'm pretty confident that I do not need to do this, but just so that it doesn't give that warning, I'm going to put that in there. And now it's all happy. It'll say there's no LCD found, but that's fine because I don't want it to have an LCD. Now, what we need to do is add a second turrets on off command to our hotbar somewhere. Let's go here. And that's because these new ones are actually going to be controlled with a different programmable block. And I cannot remember what the command is, so I'm going to have to go back into it to find out. Edit. It is trigger timer, and then colon the timer name. And this is case sensitive, so we need to make sure we remember that. So that is something I am prone to forgetting. So it'll be run trigger timer turrets on, confirm, and then run trigger timer turrets off, confirm. Okay, now this should work. Yeah, turret went off, turret turns on. Yeah, sweet. Now what's the command for broadcast? Yay, awesome. Okay, that's working. Last step of this is the stuff I need to do to the base. That's a little bit more. Because I still use the transmit receive script, I'm going to need a whole extra antenna for this one to take control of. Because this script requires information to be sent both ways, as in the turrets tell the base stuff and the base tells the turrets things, both need to have programmable blocks linked to antenna. And unfortunately, you cannot have two programmable blocks linked to the same antenna. So what we need to do is go upstairs and add an extra antenna. And I think I have an idea of where I might be able to sneak one onto the little radar dish without it looking too ridiculous. So we'll give that a go and see if it works. And still a silent elevator ride. So if I add I suppose I could either add it this way, or I could add it vertically. I think I'll go vertically with it facing that way. I think that's the least ridiculous. And it just means the HUD markers for these two go over the top of each other. That's kind of my reasoning behind wanting to put them both here, since they will both have to be on broadcast all the time. And now we can grab a programmable block. I don't have an LCD for this at the moment, so what I'm going to do is use up this one, base, and when I get the LCDs back to use the proper display script, I'll replace this then. Base PB turret status. What I'm going to do, I realize what I've messed up here. Turret status LCD. What I've messed up is I forgot to name the antenna. Base antenna 2. Assigned programmable block will be base PB turret status. Broadcast out to 10,000. Okay, now we've got our name in. Then we can have the ping interval at 10 seconds, which I'll just leave at for the moment. But normally, because I run so many scripts on this world, I tend to run things much slower than is ideal to try and reduce any performance impacts I might have from the stupid amount of scripts I run. So I'd put that at like 30 seconds. And that's reasonable because I'm not going to be checking the LCD all that often. So 30 seconds is probably all right. In fact, I might just leave it at that now. The rest of these things I think we can leave as is. Click OK. Now we just need to head inside and build an LCD for it. Turret status LCD. Show text on screen. And there we go. It's already showing up. Sandbag 01 active with a yellow symbol, which I think he's very cleverly used the Xbox controller symbols that have been incorporated into the game. So yellow is the Y, A is the green, and B is the red for when things have gone wrong. It's currently empty, which is why it's yellow. And the last engagement was never. So what I may eventually do is come up with names for each little plot of sandbags that I've got around the base, so that each one has its own grouping and I know where I'm talking about when I see something's gone wrong. But now that that's working, I can blueprint the sandbag that I've got down there, which will probably be like version 5 or something. And then I can start printing them off the back of the ugly duckling, so I can make up a bunch of them in no time at all. I haven't forgotten that I need to set up the connector for the Goose's salvage trailer, but I'm very mindful of the fact that the last attack run from the nearby remote drone assembly, it did manage to hit some of our solar panels, so I really don't want to let that happen again, and that's why I'm kind of focused on getting some defenses up first. I'm not expecting this to take all that much longer in terms of printing these off now that I've actually got them, so hopefully I will be able to have it running very soon. No, base, TB, welder, wall. Confirm. Oh, wait. Projector. Key projection. So, this is sort of my stepwise way of gradually getting towards what will be, hopefully, a properly effective printer for these sandbags. And by the time I finally get the printer done, I probably won't need them anymore. But another nice thing about doing things this way is I don't need to get the bin chicken out in order to move this into position. I can just fly this down here, put it where I need it to be ready for pickup, and grind it off, and we're good to go. In fact, while I'm here, I should probably get rid of this. There we go. Now, this one needs to be renamed in here to Sandbag 02. Then let's print another one. Oh man, this is so good. Don't know why that keeps playing the decompression effect, but whatever. Could probably get rid of that projection of the sandbag off the wall now. Oh! I hear gunfire. What the heck? Ah. Where's the gunfire? I don't see any nearby enemies, and I didn't see any traces when I got up here, and I still heard some gunfire. Unless... is that stinging adversary down near something else of mine? Oh no. No, 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 no. Where is it? It's off that way. Does that mean it's going to come over the top? Oh, this isn't good. No, it looks like it's way too low. Where even is it? It's off in that direction. Oh great, it's going to come from my weakest direction, but I have no idea where it got spawned from. How did it even get here? There's no bases on my HUD. So very confused. So very, very confused. It's certainly getting here though. Oh man. This is absolutely my weakest direction. I wonder what it was shooting at, because I don't really have anything over that way. Also, it looks like it's underground. Oh no, it's just barely over. It's just barely on the backside. Okay. Guess we wait it out. Ooh. I wonder. Maybe I can do this in time. Come on, 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 come on. Let me get the ammo. Let me arm one of these sandbags and let me bring it out the front onto the bridge. Whoa, so much fog. I might go outside and join the fight. Yep, I'm going outside. Is it already down? I think the sandbags took care of it. They must have. Well, that was over before it began. Huh. Cool. Oh well. At least I know the sandbags will protect me from wherever that came from. Let's get this fourth one done, and that, given it is looking like it's getting a little bit light outside, should probably be all we need to do indoors for the night. Because I've got a big plan that I want to do. And the big plan that I want to start work on is the first expansion of solar power in a very, very, very long time. The bit that I was keeping secret is not that I was working on solar power. We all knew I was eventually going to work on an expansion to the solar power. But the bit that I'm really excited about and really looking forward to implementing is I am going to move the power between the base and the new solar tower with trams. That's right, underground trams in tunnels. And the idea and approach that I'm using with that is thanks to Rivian. I saw his post of a tram design on Reddit, and I absolutely fell in love with the idea. So that is how I'm going to do it. Alright, let's take the nugget back. Hopefully I can still lock it onto the wall, even with this bar attached. I'm getting the impression that this bar is going to stop me from connecting. Oh man, decompression effects! So many decompression effects. Okay, 4 new sandbags. Now these I'm going to deploy. I want to give them line of sight to the base itself and to the solar tower so that they can assist with destroying anything that actually gets close enough to do damage. So I think that ridge line just to the left of the new turret is where I want to put them. I probably want to put them in a bit of a line facing toward the solar tower. I might start higher up and gradually drop them that way. It's pretty steep, so they may slide a little bit. I gotta be careful because it's hard to tell where the ground is. Let's drop number 5. Yep, that's where I wanted it, pretty much. I think that probably worked out. Oh, if it stops sliding, it'll probably be okay. Stop sliding. Oh dear. Where are you going to end up? I'm going to have to move you again, aren't I? Fine. Fine. Alright, number 7. Let's see if we can keep you in this position where I want you. And number 8, you can go just there. And this one is definitely going to need a pickup because that is not a useful position. Because most of its line of fire will be occupied by the other turret. I think, and I'll check in just a second and move them if I have to. But I think if that stops sliding, don't you... Why do you like sliding so much? It's not on. Stop sliding. Stop that. Stop that. Seriously. Stay still. Stay put where I drop you. All of the other ones, this is ridiculous. Every other one is staying still, but you just keep wanting to move. Stop moving. Stay put and don't take the other one with you. No, that's not cool. It's not happening. Fine, I'm going to move you way up here. No idea if it's a useful spot, but I'm putting you there anyway because you're driving me insane. There we go. You're staying put. No, you're still sliding. Now you're staying put. Okay. So your angle of fire. Yeah, cool. Alright. That's definitely got line of sight down to around the solar tower and all the way along the trajectory that those nasty drifting pursuants come. So let's check out the other three and see if they're in a good spot too. Since my idea was pretty much just to make sure that they could shoot at something hovering over or near the solar tower. This one's got a nice line of sight and it's only 120 meters away, so its accuracy should be still pretty good. This one, same deal. And this one has the best line of sight of all of them and is sliding. I wonder if it'll stop. Cool. I'm pretty happy with that. Let's repair that, because I don't like the look of the solar tower with damaged armor on it. I've loaded up the ugly duckling with a few little goodies, and now let's go have a look at where I think we're going to build our solar tower. There's a lot of elevated ground around here, and when I first built my solar tower down here, there were quite a lot of comments about how it was pretty silly to build it down in a valley. And yeah, it isn't ideal for getting maximum sunlight exposure throughout the day. I didn't build it on top of the hill because that's a long way up. But now, since this one's going to be remote, we should go as high as we can. And I think the nearest really tall peak is off in that direction. However, that's also right near the enemy base that's sending all the really nasty stuff, so I don't really want to build it over that way. And I don't think I'd get that much advantage from it over this nearby peak here. Plus, if I end up wanting to do some power transfers without the tram, or I want to be able to drive up here or anything like that, this is going to be a lot easier to get up to than any of the other peaks nearby. So right here is where I'm thinking. And if we have a look, if I line the ugly duckling up on top of it, with it pointing directly at where the sun is rising, we should be able to get a pretty good idea of where the sun is going to set. To see if we've got anything blocking that might make a slightly different position better. So directly behind us, and perfect. It's in that cradle between those two sections, so that's exactly ideal. Awesome. Now I'm just going to set the ugly duckling down gently while I set up. Please don't roll. Okay, good. While I get Reggie ready to record this, because I want this recorded from another perspective. So it's kind of convenient in a way that I was repairing that damage on the other solar tower just now, since that's a great example of why I'm going to do this tower differently. My plan for this one is to make the actual tower part quite a lot thicker. And I think what we'll do is go with... Oh, I need interior plate. Did I bring... I did bring interior plate. Good. I just grabbed all steel plate and I actually need some interior for what I'm doing. Because this tower is not only going to be thicker, but it's also going to carry inventory all the way up to the top. Because guess what's going to go on top? That's right. Turrets. So this thing's going to be able to protect itself, hopefully, but I'm also going to put sandbags around it just in case. But that's kind of the idea that I'm going for, and I think it could work out pretty well. Now let's grab an advanced rotor. So we're also going to put the rotation part all the way down the bottom here. The idea behind that is so that I can hide it. Because this tower is going to be thicker, I need to be able to hide it, otherwise it's going to look really, really weird. I'm just going to put that there as a bit of extra support just in case I stuff something up. Way back when I did the other solar tower, I actually tried out a couple of other designs just to see if I liked something else better. And this is one of the alternate designs, and I've always wanted to build a solar tower this way because it allows you to build something really, really big without it looking too ridiculous. I'm going to have to keep a very close eye on my hydrogen, which means I'm probably going to die. Because, let's be honest, we all know that I'm not going to remember my hydrogen. So we place these around here, like so. And the idea of this will be that this row of armor blocks is actually going to conceal where the rotor attaches. So if we go with a conveyor junction, then I need to get rid of that and add a curve. Then it's going to be block, 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 and block. And then the tower is going to look this way the whole way up. Round, 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 and round. If we look from above now, you should be able to tell that this will be able to spin within that circle I just created with the other blocks. So that really skinny bit, that bit where it rotates on itself, where it would look really strange if there was just this broken section in the middle of a massive tower, I've hidden it behind these blocks. So we're not actually going to be able to see that at all. It's just going to be this whole tower spinning on this massive base where we're going to build a bit of a building here as well. And that will hopefully allow us to arm that building and increase the protection that we've got here. And I missed a block. But that is the general gist of what we're doing here. So, how many blocks do we have? 59. I'm going to grab one more. I'm going to go upwards until I run out. Yeah. So we're going 60 blocks up. So that's 150 meters. Okay, that is our tower. This is how high up we are going to be. These are absolutely the best views around. Look at how far we can see in every direction. This is awesome. And look at how far away the ugly duckling is. 160 meters down. Oh yeah. So, on top, we get a Gatling turret. Then what we're going to do is, not quite at the top, but maybe 5 or 6 blocks down, we're going to have our arms. And these are going to be with advanced rotors as well. But they're going to get special treatment because they're going to get small rotor heads on them so that I can do some really cool detail, but also I can reinforce their arms that go out. If I made them in large grid, I would have to make the arms look enormous to be able to do any sort of reinforcement or to do any sort of styling on them. And it'd look funny with the center tower being just as thick as everything else. So I'm not going to do it that way. What I'm going to do instead is make it with small grid. That way I can still get turrets on there, and I can put a bit of styling on, like the connector arms that I've got for the goose. You might be wondering though if I'm going to lose efficiency by having small grid solar panels attached to those arms. And from what I looked up yesterday, since I did check on the wiki, and I'm just going to remove that because it'll get in the way as I do a line in a second. The small grid solar panels produce exactly a quarter of the energy that a large grid one does. Conveniently, small grid solar panels also use exactly 1/4 the number of solar cells. So it should be able to produce just as much using small ones as I would be able to using large, but I get to make it look better. So win-win. So many blocks to place, and this is going to take forever to weld. One downside of building something on this scale is that I can't really get Reggie all that close for his time lapses. So I'm just going to be this little mosquito buzzing around because I've set his camera up so far away. Oops, don't want that there. I'm going to keep just the back half built, or at least keep this row in front of the conveyor junctions free, so that I can get in there and weld it all in one go. Because otherwise I wouldn't be able to actually get any welder into that bit. Something I did think about when I was placing those blocks down, the conveyor junctions, is that they are more expensive. But despite being more expensive, I still went for them because they're going to give me the extra, they'll give me a tiny bit of extra strength to the tower. Because it means that every block that's in here has an attachment point to every other block that it could possibly have, which should provide some resilience if something does happen to shoot the tower. In practice though, it seems like the drones aren't going to go after the tower because the tower doesn't have any computer parts in it. So I may lose all the panels, but I shouldn't lose the tower if it does get attacked. At least that's what seems to happen to the main base solar tower whenever it gets attacked. Now I might leave that corner off as well just to make it a bit easier to weld into the middle there. I think if I put it in, it'll make it quite difficult. Okay. That's a lot of armor placed. What I'm going to do now, before I go on to try and weld anything, is get a little bit of a plan of this base building down. So if I come out this far and then we go down, the sort of functions that'll need to be in this base building will be, it's going to need quite a bit of battery storage, but it's also going to need to have a little bit of ammunition storage too, since I'm not going to really be able to restock this all that easily. Although, no, I don't really want to build conveyor tubes all the way down to the future tram stop. That's just crazy. If I have cargo storage down the bottom here and the conveyor tubes around, I should be able to set up a few turrets on this downstairs, this base section, which will give us a bit more protection. And then I might do some outrigger turrets like I have on the main base for even more protection, because this thing I'm not going to be hanging around very often, so I won't really know whether it's being attacked. And if it does suffer any attacks, I want it to be robust enough and well protected enough that it can just annihilate any of the drones that get sent its way. Since I think there is, that's where the original base, I think there's another one off this way, and I don't know how far it is from this. I don't know if we're close enough to actually potentially get attacked. And because we're on high ground, the drones will actually have an easier time getting to us, since they'll have a nice straight flight path as soon as they get over that hill on the other side. So I think I might close off today by going and getting the buttercup and trying to weld up some of this tower. If I do build a battery on this soon, I should be able to power up this turret and give it some ammunition, which would potentially give me a modicum of protection while I'm here. It'd probably make me feel more protected than I actually was, though. I don't think it would really make a big difference. Yeah, I'm glad I didn't build that side on things, because it would be very hard to get into the conveyor junctions otherwise. And this is going to take a while. It's going to be very slow. I am tempted to do the trick where I lay everything down with the buttercup and then weld it by hand. But I didn't refill my hydrogen, so I probably won't do that. It's so weird being so high up that I can see all the way across that lake. It all looks so small. Yet, it's really not. It's a long way away. I think I can almost make out the base in the distance. I think if I... Oh, I don't know how I'm gonna... Nope. That's the wrong angle. If I go like this, I think you can kind of see it just there. There's just a couple of pixels that are different, and I think that is the base. That's really cool. That is a long way away. But it is visible. Oh, this would probably look so cool at night if I was welding at night. It would be insane to weld at night, but it would probably look cool because I'd have all the flashing from the welders and everything. Next time, we'll get more welding done on the solar tower. We'll probably get the arms set up as well. I'm possibly... it might be smart if I order up a bunch more solar cells too, because I've got 2,000 in storage, but that's probably not going to cut it for the full dimensions of this new solar tower. You can kind of see, compared to what we're looking at now, this new one's aiming to be at least 50% bigger again. So I'm going to need a lot. So if you think about it, if that's got 40 solar cells, solar panels I should say, and each of those uses up 64, we need 2,560 just for that tower. And if I'm going 50% bigger again, that means we're looking at almost 4,000 solar cells. So I might order some up. So there's that, and it looks like there's a remote... Oh, there's a drifting pursuant coming in. So there's going to be some fighting next time, and some building. So there's that, and plenty more to come. And I'll see you then.